Today, we're revisiting the 1998 game adaptation of A Bug's Life, which had great visuals and some innovative gameplay, but f***ing awful controls. Ugh. A Bug's Life is a 3D platformer in which the player controls the main protagonist from the namesake film, Flick. The game was developed by Traveller's Tales, who years later would become known for their extremely successful LEGO video game adaptations.
Now, go!
There are 15 main levels in the game that take the player throughout settings based on the film. To complete a level, the player must either find an exit or complete an objective such as defeating a boss character. There's also something that you rarely see in PS1 games: a training level.
Go on, my boy, give it a go.
Lara's home it is not, but it enables players to get accustomed to the controls and acts as a warning for the frustrating gameplay ahead. Why is it frustrating, you ask? Well, because the controls are completely broken. There's often a considerable gap between you pressing a button and then Flick responding to that command. Jumping Flick from one platform to another will often have you wanting to tear your hair out. Ugh, can you tell it annoys me?
What a beautiful day in my neighborhood.
Most of the levels have a ramp up to an elevated jumping section, followed by lots of very precise jumps in order to obtain an item. Time and time again, you'll go to jump and nothing will happen. Flick won't even bloody leave the ground, and you'll fall all the way down to the lower section, meaning that you now have to retrace your steps all over again. To compensate, you'll start pressing the jump button far too early, which inevitably gives you exactly the same outcome as Flick won't make the jump. Another annoyance is the camera. Pressing L1 will reset the camera behind Flick, which is something that you have to constantly do in order to navigate around a level. Pressing R1 is meant to lock the camera in place, but as you guessed it, this is pretty inadequate. As when you change direction and run back the way you came, you have to now spin the camera around to see where you're going. The camera will move extremely slowly when repositioning, so quite frankly, if you're getting attacked by something behind you, then you're gonna take a beating before you can even see the enemy.
Oh, hello! So nice to meet you.
Talking of enemies, there are 5 boss battles in the game. Flick will start with a red berry attack that isn't strong enough to hurt these deadly foe, and so boss fights involve Flick obtaining a stronger type of berry before he can do any damage. Even though the arenas in which you fight these bosses are small, the large character models will often fail to render if they aren't close to Flick. In our playthrough, we actually won several of these battles by just throwing berries towards where we presumed the bosses were.
Gotcha. Bye-bye, birdie.
Well, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Oh!
Despite our complaints about the controls, the camera, and the disappearing bosses, the game is actually pretty good.
You little termites!
The main gameplay mechanic involves the various different seeds, which are scattered throughout levels, which Flick can then carry on to other areas. Now, jumping on top of a seed creates a plant that will aid Flick in some fashion, such as restoring his health or propelling him through the air. The levels are filled with secret areas, and finding a specific seed will often encourage you to retrace your steps and grab some goodies that weren't previously accessible. Kids will be able to complete most levels in a matter of minutes, but many levels offer some rather complex platforming puzzles for those looking to unlock everything. This is all made harder, of course, by the sluggish controls, which are just really The PS1 version was met with generally poor reviews. GameSpot gave the game a 2.7 out of 10, concluding that it was obvious that Disney was more interested in producing a $40 advertisement for its movie than in developing a playable game. Now that was harsh, but was it really that unplayable? What did our Facebook fans think? John remembers. I remember that the loading screens were absolute Looked like they'd been made by a kid on MS Paint. Yeah, okay, there's probably some truth to that in all honesty. Grant next. I remember being blown away by the fact you could actually watch parts of the movie in the cutscenes. Topody recalls, "Oh, Bugs Life, I was so happy when I got it as a present, but it was so bloody hard. Once it took me 2 weeks to figure out a seed puzzle. Regardless, I still have some good memories." We understand Cody's pain next. My memory? Endless frustration and otherworldly stress fighting the fly boss in that rolling can. Speaking as somebody who just did this level a few hours ago, I'm totally with you, Cody. That can. Joe remembers. The level where you had to fly with the dandelion was one of the most frustrating levels of any game I've ever played.
To the riverbed and beyond!
That being said, it's still a very fun game to play. Anybody else notice a word that keeps popping up with these memories? Frustrating. And finally, James says, "It was fun but difficult like most Disney video games. Loved the giant bird, all the side characters, and how far it took you into their world." So there we have it. A flawed game, sure, but a vibrant platformer still capable of delivering a fun afternoon at the very least. Just prepare to be frustrated for like 50% of the time? Okay, 70%. At least 70% of the time. But what were your memories? Let us know down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.
Hello, Mr. Ant. Did Ant find rest of us?
I need super jump!
For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you don't miss any videos in the future. Cheers!